There we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. I see there's people from Brazil, South Africa, Mexico. It's on your side of the world, it would be Buenos Dias, or in Bom dia in Brazil. So thank you very much for joining us. It's good afternoon where I am, and there may be some people where it might also be good evening. I don't know what it is in Portuguese, but in Spanish I know it's Buenas tardes. So you can correct me over there. We have two wonderful speakers today from Brazil. Our first speaker is from South America in the Future of Work webinar series. So I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Daniel Bratz and Paulo Antonio Oliveira, and thank you very much for taking the time to give these presentations today. Just a quick introduction to the two. Daniel is Executive Director of the Innovation Agency and is also an Associate Professor in the Department of Production Engineering at UFSC in Brazil. He's got his PhD and Master's degree in Production Engineering and graduated in Materials Production Engineering. He's been teaching in various different areas, including ergonomics and work design, engineering design, factory and layout design, digital human simulation, and gamification. He coordinates the NPro research group at his university, and has also been involved in a number of other different initiatives. The one that really excites me is the Young Researchers in Ergonomics initiative. And he coordinates the Assistiverse Research and Innovation Project at his university. Paulo Antonio Oliveira is a full professor of social medicine at the UFRGS in Brazil. He's also a retired labor inspector and a retired medical doctor. His specialization is in occupational medicine, and he has a doctorate in production engineering. Paulo has previously been a president of the Brazilian Ergonomics Association, ABERGO, and has been the IEA, and is currently the IEA co-chair for Latin America of the International Development Committee of the International Ergonomics Association. And very recently, he was also elected as a fellow of the International Ergonomics Association. You've heard enough from me. I'm now going to turn over to our speakers, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'll be taking copious amounts of notes as we go along. So I'm going to switch off my camera and hand over to Daniel, who's going to be starting. Daniel, over to you.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you, Andrew, for the invitation for this introduction. I would like to thank Alexandra also and the staff of the International Ergonomics Association. I am very glad to be here to talk about the future of work and the challenges for human factors and ergonomics from Brazil. So I will share my screen with you. I believe that it's working. Okay. Yeah. I know we have some colleagues from another countries here, and today we are talking about Brazil, and I know that most of the people, when think about Brazil, think about some images like this, Rio de Janeiro, and I saw Zé Orlando is here, and he said that he is in Rio de Janeiro, and I really like the city. I like to show this picture, this photography, but in fact, I am not here. If you don't know Rio de Janeiro, I greatly recommend that you visit there. It's a real beautiful city, and I always been there like it's possible, when it's possible. But in fact, now I am not there. I am in São Carlos. São Carlos, it's a medium-sized city, like 200 kilometers from São Paulo city. Then we are in countryside of São Paulo state. And I am associate professor at the Department of Industrial Engineering or Production Engineering at Federal University of São Carlos. And then I started with a first challenge about Brazil. Brazil, now you can see, it's a big country. It's the size of Brazil. It's like a lot of countries. It's possible to do this. It's possible comparing the size of the states of Brazil with other countries. I pick some states just to do this comparison. Like Espírito Santo state, it is bigger than Switzerland. Minas Gerais state, it's bigger than Spain. Rio de Janeiro is bigger than Denmark. And São Paulo state, that's the state that I am, it's bigger than United Kingdom. Then it's so hard to talk about all of Brazil because are a big country with a lot of difference in culture, in customs, in behavior, in kinds of work, companies, climate, and so on. Okay, to do this presentation, I decided to separate in 3 different levels, and then I intend to show you Brazilian issues at macro level, meso, and micro level. And after this, I intend to summarize these issues and show you some challenges that I believe that is important for human factors and ergonomics in Brazil. And to finalize my presentations, I intend to show an initiative that we have here in Brazil. Okay, so let's go. It's important to remember this difference between the levels. When I talk about macro level, I am talking about nations, governments, public policies. In meso level, we have the organizations and companies and their cultures and values. And the micro level, we are talking about people, social relationships, professional development, and the development of the people as individuals. Okay, so let's see some challenges on these levels. In a macro level, we can start with some data. The first one is half of Brazilians who work are in the informal sector, then they don't have a signed contract with the company, with the employer. And then for these people, it's a concerning situation because they don't have a lot of rights, labor rights, if something happens with them during the work or related to work. Another situation, we have here more than 1.5 million working for apps like Uber, and we have a lot of them. And now we know what this kind of work do with the workers. Okay, and here in Brazil we had a labor law reform in 2017, and in this reform was increased the bargaining power between employee and employer, and we call here the prevalence of negotiation over what is in legislation, or what is in the laws. Then we know that the employer in a situation of negotiation, it's the employer have much more power and influence than the employees. Then this is not good for the workers' situation. Situation is not good for the workers. And together this, we have restricted outsourcing situations to doing that this outsource moves to other sectors, areas, and fields, kinds of work. And also we start to legalize intermittent work, and we know also the problems that this happens with what happens with the workers when we need to wait for the work and to be available and just earn something at the employer calls them to do something. Okay, in a meso level, we have here, not just here, but in Brazil, it's a fact. Companies follow a logic that it's worth making employees real or keeping them at risk of accidents. And to prove this, I show you a data that in 2022, at least 307,000 labor lawsuits were registered, and these labor lawsuits were about moral harassment, occupational diseases, workplace accidents, degrading conditions, restroom access limitations. Unfortunately, we have this, and it's sexual harassment. Then, if you look at this map in Brazilian map, we have a lot of red dots. Each red dot represents accident, a work-related accident, and then these numbers, it's huge numbers. It's unbelievable almost, because we are talking about more than 7 million work-related accidents for works, and just workers with signed contracts. We don't talk about here all of populations that work, because it's just workers with signed contracts since 2012. It represents like one accident every 51 seconds. And we have also a lot of deaths, and this is an unbelievable number. It's more than 27,000 deaths of workers in this period. It's like one death every 3 hours for 47 minutes and 3 seconds. Then I am not happy to say these numbers. And in an economic perspective, we can show this data from Observatório de Segurança e Saúde no Trabalho. It's a website here in Brazil, and they show us that it's almost 500,000, in fact, million days of work lost due to accidents, these accidents that we say. And this represents, in terms of money, almost 30 billions of dollars in this period. It's a lot of money also. And in a micro level, I want to highlight some aspects. Here in Brazil, we have a negative view of labor unions and labor laws, and the employers and the most of people don't have a good view or don't have this good relationship with labor unions. And we also are in a country with a little democratic tradition in the workplace and the workspaces. It's like it's talk with the negative view of unions. On the other hand, we have here overvaluations on people who work excessively, even when sick or take risks. This is not acceptable more. We need to talk about this kind of work, this kind of situations, to have time to do other things, not just work. And together this, we have professional education since the early years of children for employment in a utilitarian perspective. And this happens also with engineering education, because they are completely focused in use of technologies and to be more productive, to have more quality in the products, in the process. but they don't have a view from a human perspective, something like that. Okay, to summarize this, I put this in these 3 levels. In the first level, the macro, I believe an important issue is the expansion of the liberal view that degrades work conditions. For me, I believe the challenge for human factors and ergonomics is act beyond the academic environments and organizations and try to change the public policies and change the context, social, economic. In a meso level, we have this problem with the institutions that don't recognize or ignore the real issues faced by workers in a completely technocentric view. And I believe the challenge here is create, expand, and improve collective spaces for analysis and solution design. And this is very important if we are talking about Industry 4.0 or something like that, to do this, to think about this, creating these spaces to have more collaborative, participative process, not just technology oriented. And in a micro level, the big issue here is the professionals are completely oriented towards the productive and unaware or just ignore the impacts that work has on people's health and safety. And for me, the challenge for human factors and ergonomics here is build different ways to impact professionals, but especially new professionals, to act more humanly and ethically. Okay, to talk about this, I would show you also a research that we did, not just me, but Esdras, Maria Luisa, Flávia, Sandra Gema, and Raoni Rocha. We started to do this research to comprehend, to understand how the ergonomics and other topics are distributed in the engineering programs. And we picked 16 universities here in Brazil using this ranking, time higher education. And we looking for the engineering programs, the courses inside these programs. And we decided to see in the 5 programs with more students that are industrial engineering, chemical, mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering. And we started with more 1,500 courses, and in the finish we have 166 courses that we analyzed in deeply, and then we found these numbers. This represents, in average, 1.58 courses per engineering program, okay? But in fact, we have industrial engineering a good average, like 3.65 courses in each engineering program. But what is concerning, it's the average that we found in electrical engineering and civil engineering mainly, because we are talking about less than 1 course that talk about or that teach about work in these engineering programs. And everyone knows how important is this sector and how they impact in the health conditions and the safety conditions of the workers. Okay, when we start to observe the topics inside these courses, we found a lot of topics about safety and ergonomics. They represent like 50%, but what call our attention, it's this: health is didn't appears in the courses, in these courses. It's almost forbidden to address the topic of health in these programs in Brazil. I play with this because it's like if you want to talk about health, you need to change your program. You need to go to the a health program. Okay, and it's crazy because as if the work of engineers doesn't impact the health conditions of others, and everyone knows that it's not true. And we engineers, our work impacts a lot in various aspects the work. And so if we are here to talk the future of work in Brazil, if it depends on engineering, the situation is likely to improve for people, unfortunately. But we are trying to do something. We start to try to change the situations, then something. And this is now what we call the Work Engineering Initiative. This initiative began with Labor Public Prosecutor's Office, with Dr. Silvio Beltramelli, and the Sereste in Piracicaba City. Sereste is a public service for specialized occupational health care with Alessandro Silva. And then they invited some professors and from universities, and then Raoni Rocha and Sandra Gema are together with me to work in this initiative. And we have the administrative support from ASAS. It's a non-profit organization. Okay, and we have we construct a new definition for work engineering because it's a expressions that already existed here. And then after this construction, we start to show for other universities, other professor associations, what we believe that working engineers need to be or need to talk about. In most of the time, when we start to talk about working engineering, most of the people thought about safety at work or work design in a tailored perspective. And then we start to show them it's much more than this. It's talk about work, ergonomics, health worker. It's talk about health. Inside the work topics, talk about organizations, right of workers, transformations that we had in the work in the history, sense of worker, illness, mental health. It's a very important topic that we need to talk about this in engineering programs. Surveillance, culture of safety, security, history, evolution of ergonomics, analysis, activity, inside in a ergonomics perspective, cognition, simulation, tools, participation, and so on. And then this is what we believe that work engineering needs to talk, needs to put inside the program engineering in the universities. Okay, and then we in 2021 we launched a book called Work Engineering in English, but in Portuguese is Engenharia do Trabalho. This book has 5 sections and 21 chapters. And the sessions is workers' health, safety, ergonomics, and work design. And we invited 51 experts from various fields writing for a specific target audience. We believe that it's the main difference of this book if you compare with other books that deals with the same subject. And this book was written for the specific target audience, the engineering students. And then after the book, we started a collaboration with universities through the Public Prosecutor's Office. They support us to encourage the universities and the programs to adopt this matter in the engineering courses. And then after this, we start an intensive promotional activity and participation in events. It's important to say that we professors, Sandra Gema, Raoni, and me, we didn't receive or don't receive anything to do this. Okay, it's for free. And then since 2021, we have more than 10,048 downloads until yesterday. And the next is steps that we are planning are continued the distribution of the physical copies. We printed 1,000 copies of the book, and we are sending these copies to libraries in different universities in Brazil. We intend to start a dissemination of this initiative and the book in Portuguese-speaking countries. We start also planning a free course for teacher training for professors talking about work engineering, use our book to understand this initiative in a wider perspective, not just safety or work design. And we intend to also expand partnerships with other universities and associations like International Ergonomics Association. We want also translate the book into other languages like Spanish and English. And we started a few months ago the translations into Portuguese of the book Ergonomic Intervention from ERST Canada, in Canada. So now we have this Brazilian map. The green sections are states that received our book. The red one are our challenge now. We need to send our book to contact professors, universities in their states. And I would like to show you some pictures from this initiative. It's important to highlight it's not just me, it's a lot of people. We have here Raoni, Sandra Gema, Alessandro, Amanda, are colleagues that are working with me in this initiative that we believe it's possible to change a little bit the work in the future. Okay. So I don't know my time, but I believe that I I spent more than 20 minutes, Andrew.
Thank you. No problem, Daniel. Thank you very much for that. We'll come back to you. If you have any questions, I didn't explain this at the beginning, please use the Q&A function. Should be at the bottom of your screens. And I'd like to invite Paulo Antonio to give his presentation. Paulo, over to you. I'll switch my camera off now and let you speak.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Alexandra, for this opportunity. First, I don't speak English very well, and then I will try to speak because I speak only Portuguese and Portuñol. Second, we will try to show the situation in Brazil and choose to privilege in the social fields: work, climate, energy, technology, and policy. I think that's it's very difficult to talk about the challenge of Brazil. It's a complex, it's a big country, and then we chose to privilege these five themes. First, the social question. To talk about the social question, it's more important to talk about demography, social inequality, urbanization, immigration. It's impossible to talk about the future of working in Brazil, in the Latin America, and the world without talk about demography and immigration and urbanization and social inequality in Latin America and Africa, I think. First, demography. From the present years, there seems to be a small decrease in the acceleration of the growth of the old population. In the world, the old population, the old people, they increase decrease this acceleration. But in Brazil, it's not like this. It's in the contrary. In Brazil, there is a big acceleration in the end of the years 19 and the beginning of the 20s, in different from the another countries. And the urbanization in the world between the 2010, the world urban population exceeded the rural population in this period. And like here, now the situation is the urban population is bigger than. But in Brazil, this situation, it's in 1960, 1970, different from the world. And today, this difference is bigger, is growing, and the population from the urban population is bigger than the rural population. This is a situation very, very interesting, because in this space, the age is changing too. For example, in this 100 years, the age groups are growing, and the child groups, it's in contrary, is different. And then this demographic transition is it's another very important to understand this, because for example, 2030, the people from the the middle of the people in Brazil will have more than 40 years old, and like here 1950 in 1980, the people more than 80 years old are little, and now it's growing here, and in the future growing more than. And then in this situation, in this there is another situation, because our family inequality, the money in the family, it's very inequality amount income. 3% have the amount in income like $3,000. Only 3%. 13% have amount income $100 to $300, and 27 400 to 1,000, and the middle 5-6% have amount income about $400,000, and then this population, this situation, they are not equal. There are a big inequality distribution from the amount income. In Brazil, for example, here, we are in the 10 countries with greater social inequality by Gini. Namíbia, Lesotho, Botswana, Sierra Leone, Central Africa, Swaziland, Guatemala, and Brazil. We are here in the 10 countries with greater social inequality. And this is really a big situation, the work, because this situation change our look for the work in the world. This inequality and this iniquity, for example, like Brazil is here, in the last 50 years, 1970 just to 1998, like Union Kingdom change, but no more. The United States change, but with no disequal, not inequality. And in Brazil, this change is change each time. Decrease the situation for this income distribution of money.
Paulo, were you supposed to be sharing some slides at the moment? We can't see the slides at the moment.
Excuse me?
Were you supposed to be sharing some slides at the moment? Some PowerPoint presentation? We can't see the presentation at the moment.
Now?
That's it. There we go.
Oh,
thank you very
excuse
much.
me. Excuse me. I was speaking about this, and they changed the situation, the world, and the Brazil here. It's growing a small decrease, and now in Brazil, in contra, is big. The situation is the increase, the acceleration. I speak about the urbanization, the people from the urban people and the rural people in 2010, and in Brazil is different because this change is in 1965, and today this difference is growing. The people in Brazil lives in the cities more than in the country. This these people, there is a big difference in the grown, the age people, and the in contrary from the children is in decrease. And then this demographic transition, we're changing for the situation where the population aged. It's more than, for example, 1950 and 1980. And then I was talking about this inequality. Then only 3% have monthly income about $3,000 income monthly, and 66% have only $400 monthly income. And then this is a big station, a family inequality. And then I will talk about the Brazil, like where we are in the 10 countries with greater social inequality in the world. In this situation, impact the work in Brazil. In the last 50 years, this, of course, the situation changed. For example, United Kingdom, the United States change, of course, but not like Brazil. In Brazil, each year the situation is decreasing this family situation. In this inequality, there are big cities, big space to live, but at the same time, we have the poor people living in this situation in the cities in Brazil, in the like Latin American. The situation is like for extent. At the same time, we have cities like European space, but at the same time, we have a situation not good. And in the social question, we finish with migration, because And sometime that Brazil changed the migration. For example, 1950, 1970, the situation is the northwest to the south, and now we have the sometime northwest to the south, but we have for the Amazon, a big migration from the Amazon, and for the Midwest, and then all time the migration change, but all time there are migration. And these people change his life and change the opportunity to work, and this impact the work in Brazil. And this situation, it's very, very hard for these people. And in the world, it's the same. For example, in the 1617, the situation for migration was the European to the American, to the Australia, to the Africa, and then, and of course, Africa to the America is not it's immigration for the slave. But now it's different. Every migration from is to Europe, and this situation in Brazil is the same. There are a big percent from the people who go to Europe, United States, and other countries, and this is a hard situation for the workers. The second situation I would like to talk is about the workings, disregulation, child labor, and work analogous to slave labor. It's a reality in Brazil. Daniel speak about the regulation situation where the rights are in decrease, the work rights are in decrease in Brazil. But I would like to, in Brazil it's like a Frankenstein, where there is a situation who have a high technology, but at the same time there are hard work, physical work, and computer and mental work, in the stress and we have in the same times the physical risks, but organizational risks and mental risks in the same time. We have in Brazil child labor. This is really image, not fake news. And the work analogous to slave labor, it's a reality in Brazil. All day we see in the television the policy going into the farms to discover, to research for the slave labor. And the energy climate is the same. We have the situation with energy, renewable energy. For example, more than 50% from our energy is not by petroleum. It's carbon free or carbon slow use, like we use water and sun, and but this are changing. The situation are changing, and the climate in Brazil, we have now a big situation and a strange situation for us. For example, floods in southern Brazil. Now in the last winter, we have a big floods in southern Brazil, and at the same time we have droughts in Amazon. For example, this is a river, a big river, and now here's a little water now in October. In the same, we have droughts in Amazonia, and the same time we have, and 10, 20 years ago, it's not like this. Of course, there is flows, but not like a bigger like this, like in this moment. And in the finish, I would like to talk about the technology problems in the work in Brazil. I think in the world, the advance for in information and communication, concomitant use of the internet and smartphone are drastically changing work, even in a region still under a development, such as Brazil and Latin America. It's very, very drastically changing this union, telephone and information and management, the work by algorithms. Labor management by algorithms is another example. The normal, not employed workman does not relate to someone else, his boss or in charge, but to a digital platform that has a work manager, a computer algorithm. You speak about iFood, Uber, but now in our reality, in the health, for example, the medical work and the nurse work, there is a management by algorithms to allocate the people in the work. The digital platforms are arriving in a lot of situation. In the same time, the robots, a new technology interfering with production, in consumption, and another situation, artificial intelligence is coming, and we don't know how the artificial intelligence are coming. We don't know how the work stay with this big new situation. And we have Brazil, the robotics. We have Brazil use for smartphones, technology, but we lost employees. We lost jobs. Of course, nurse in hospital, the loss is not bigger, but there is another situation the new artificial intelligence are coming, the new situation, digital platforms are coming, and the radical change, drastically change the work. Finally, I would like to speak about the policy. First, the multiple, I think it's possible, speak about to try change this situation. First, we need we have an example for the multipolarization in international relations. For example, the BRICS. The strengthening, the growing of the BRICS, it's an example for this necessary to multipolarity study, multipolarity action, multipolarity policy to work against this situation, this dysregulation, this social inequality, and the end really the situation now in the world. We need to fight for the peace. Please, people, we need to fight for peace. Thank you very much.
Muito obrigado, Paulo and Daniel. Thank you very much for those two wonderful, insightful, thoughtful presentations. What I would like to do is I would like to invite our audience to be involved and to start asking questions. I see one question has already started to pop up. This question comes from someone in South Africa, Esmeralda Kernan. The question over here is, I'm not, let me just read the question. I suppose it's for either of you. What is Brazil currently doing to overcome the technology gap to prevent people from going out of work? Is Brazil doing anything, or is this something that is happening to Brazil? I see you're shaking your head, Paulo. Maybe you want to have a first go.
Well, I understand that it's not a governmental policy to work against this situation. It's after this regulation in 2017, like Daniel talked, after this bigger regulation, the job is near free for the enterprise can do what it wants in the work. It's incredible. We're in the same situation. We return to the year 1940 when they began the law, they began the rights in the work, and now more than 50 rights are cut out of the law in Brazil, and the labor labor union are without force, without energy to work against this situation. And I don't know if it's Daniel have another.
Daniel, do you want to tackle the question too? It's a tough one.
Yeah. No, I agree with Paulo. I like to say that Brazil is in a completely changed situation because we have a new government, and the governments are trying to change some things, and to have to have more employees jobs, and to change the situations, but in fact it is a huge problem here, and we see here a lot of people talking about entrepreneurship, like the solution for the people out of work. So it's like, okay, if you don't have a job, you can go there and create a job, do a business plan, but it's not fair because it's so different. If you have support, money, instruction, opportunity, and okay, if it's probably possible you create your own job, create your company, develop your a new business model. But if you don't have opportunity, money, instruction, education, it's almost impossible. And then you have to do this, like Paul said, you need to use your smartphone, your smartphone, install an app, and start to work for algorithm. It's impossible to talk with a boss. It's impossible to negotiate. It's impossible to know how much you earn in the end of the month. Okay, so it's a not so good situations here.
There's a couple more questions kind of coming in, so they're going to thank you very much for that, both of you. Here's another question, perhaps a little bit more for you, Daniel. If you were doing an education plan for young people now, what would you be doing to prepare them for a future 20 years from now? What do you think you would be teaching them now to prepare them for that future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, in the same way that I said the last question,
Mm.
I believe we have a lot of people that believe just in entrepreneurship. This word is not so easy to say for us, but it's like in the same meaning. We need to teach the students how they can create your own jobs. And we have here also a plan to increase the technical education. Then it's and in the same meaning that I said in my presentation, because it's prepare the human prepare the people for the work, just for this, not to do a good life, to do reflections about the situations, the society, to construct better relationships. Is just focus in the job and the simple jobs. Okay, then it's a huge problem, and now what we are trying to do is change a little bit this scenario.
Paolo, do you want to add to that, or you happy with that answer? Not on there. Okay. Here's a slightly different question. Sorry, when I look down, I'm writing notes about what you're saying. So, Daniel, in your presentation, you talked about this new labor reform, which I think was either initiated or was completed in 2017. I would be interested. This is from an anonymous attendee, so I'm not sure who it's from. Would be, what are you thinking about how this is taking place and what is happening with this labor reform?
Yeah, like I said, we in this 2022 we changed our president, but before that we had the two different presidents that they changed a lot the laws about work regulations, and I believe that a good example for this is the last president just cut the Ministry of Labor. It's they changed the position in the hierarchy and put inside the Ministry of Economy. And then you can see how they don't take care about work situations, work regulations, and fiscalizations, like Paulo show us. And I believe that we need to start a new movement here to show the importance of the work and what has happened with these new technologies, because these technologies are very interesting. I believe that everyone here uses Uber, ask food using smartphone, doing a lot of things using these technologies. But you need to pay attention how they impacts in the workers, in the health conditions, safety conditions. Last week I heard a podcast that a professor, a researcher, did a research about this, and he did ethnographic research, and he spent just 40 minutes, like 37, I believe, or almost 40 minutes, to transitions like an unemployed person, and he did registration in a platform for food delivery, and in 30 minutes, he has a job. No, it's not works like in this way. It's just for say, okay, I am not more unemployed. I have a job, but in fact, he just in the after 3 or 4 days, he started to do the deliveries. He started to receive some money to pay the equipment that he had to buy to start to do work. And if you need to buy a car or buy a bike, buy a motorcycle or buy a bag, you started just to pay what you bought. It's like the slave condition in the past when you bought food in the market inside the farm. Okay, and it's you need to pay attention, stay conscious, and try to change these situations. And for us, it's in using the education to change the situation.
Oh, thank you very much. That's a very interesting intake. Paulo, any last words? I see we're over time. And some people are dropping off, so maybe just any last words that you would like to say, Paulo?
Okay, well, the last words. The situation is it's every day is in decrease. The decrease in the rights, decrease in the assurance, but the people continues to work in the bad situation, but they are working. And then we, the economists, we can think about this. Always we are thinking about the industry 4.0, 50, but in the same time we have a no good situation. We have slaves, we have child labor, we have work, dysregulation work. And then in this moment, I am here for this to try change how the engineers, the medicals, and the economists are thinking the work, because the work in the world is not the same for us, and it's not the same for always, for everybody. In this situation, this inequality, social inequality, we need to study this. And then, Tatjana, thank you very much for the invitation. It's not finished now. It's a big continuous fight to transform to fight for to discover how to work in the new world.
Indeed,
and new worlds with the war. It's terrible. It's the more terrible than all what we speak now. The war is the terrible. Thank you.
No, well, I'd like to thank both of you, Paulo Antonio and Daniel, for the time you've taken to do this. I'd like to think of this as opening the conversation, not concluding the conversation, and that includes, of course, all of our attendees and involving them in the conversation, getting them to ask questions, and as we take this discussion and these thoughts and these ideas forward. So I hope you will go forward with me on this. So once again, thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording now. For those of you who are, there we go, just stop the